Nigerian people are saying. Mr. Falana, how would you describe the last 2 years under President Bola Tinubu at the end of affairs?
For members of the government, and I'm talking of top officials of the government, it's been very rosy. In fact, one of them was singing, I think about a week ago, that things are getting better. Of course, for the rich, the bourgeoisie, things are getting better. But for the masses of our people, things are getting tougher because they are going through excruciating economic, crisis. In fairness to the president, on many occasions, President Bola Tinubu has asked Nigerians to bear with him, to exercise patience, that, our economic program will lead to prosperity. Whether you believe that or not, it's another matter. But the government itself realizes that there is crisis in town, that people are hungry, that many people have had to withdraw their children from schools because of the implementation, religious implementation of neoliberal policies dictated or endorsed by the IMF and World Bank. And my position, which I have made repeatedly clear, is that the government must abandon the prescriptions of the Bretton Woods institutions.
Few days ago, Bola Tinubu held a meeting with some business executives and entrepreneurs in Nigeria. In attendance were Femi Otedola, Aliko Dangote, Tony Elumelu, and others. The meeting was to mark Bola Tinubu 2 years in office, and this is what Aliko Dangote has to say regarding Bola Tinubu 2 years in office.
Of fuel subsidies and the deregulation of the downstream petroleum sector, the drive to increase crude oil production, the unification of the Naira exchange rate, the presidential CNG initiatives, and the ongoing comprehensive overhaul of the tax regime. I think, sir, by the time we start practicing your overhauled tax regime, everybody will be up and about. They will run and come to Aso Rock to thank you for actually creating that policy. We thank you, sir. This one, Your Excellency, majority of filling stations that are not working, they are now back to work. There is no more shortage, no more queues, and there will never be. Your Excellency, Mr. President, as we stand at the threshold of this new era, the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petroleum Complex symbolizes not only the fulfillment of a bold vision, but also the immense potential of what can be achieved when private enterprise and a purposeful government leadership work in tandem. And I think, sir, you are the right partner for us to partner with and make Nigeria great. Sir, Mr. President, you are a very courageous leader, and please continue with the great work you are doing. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your presence today.
Dangote also praised the president for the removal of fuel subsidy and the subsequent increase in fuel price, doing a comparison between the price of fuel in Nigeria and other West African countries.
Your Excellency, I know that yes, to some of us here in Nigeria, or to some people here in Nigeria, they might think that yes, petrol at less than 900 naira is expensive. But there is nowhere in West Africa that petrol is not selling above $1, which is 1,600. It has actually also helped significantly in stabilizing the prices of petrol, diesel, Jet A, LPG, polypropylene to their lowest level. The effect of this development is the stabilization of our currency, a critical element in the development of economic policy and budgeting by businesses.
I played you this video so you can see where Femi Falana is coming when he said that the poor are suffering under Bola Tinubu administration, that the people that are enjoying Bola Tinubu administration are the bourgeoisies, the rich, which include Dangote. Everything that Dangote said here so far are things that makes his life better, are things that made his businesses to thrive, are things that brings more money into his pocket. And where are this money coming from? This money are coming from the poor people in the society. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu has created a system where they will take money from the poor and give it back to the rich. This is what Femi Falana is saying. And in all of this, it has left the Nigerian people more impoverished. Dangote is doing a comparison between the pump price of fuel in Nigeria and other West African countries, but Dangote failed to mention that Nigeria has refineries and Dangote himself has a refinery, that Nigeria is an oil-producing nation. Dangote also failed to do a comparison between the quality of life of Nigerians and other West African states. He also failed to do a comparison between the GDP per capita of Nigeria and other West African states. What were you expecting from Dangote? He was the same man that when Bola Ahmed Tinubu came to power, he was crying, he was lamenting, he was accusing the presidency of trying to sabotage his business. But yeah, the president has backtracked. They've had a deal and Dangote is having it real. He's having it easy. His businesses are thriving. What else are you expecting him to say? He will definitely praise him at the expense of Nigerians that are suffering the harsh economic realities of Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. So you need to understand that Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not care about the poor. Dangote does not care about the poor. All that matters to them is more money at the expense of Nigerians. If the president needs a review of his 2 years in office, he shouldn't meet Dangote. He shouldn't meet the entrepreneurs in Nigeria, the top business executive in Nigeria. He should go on the street and meet the people on the street. He should review them. They should tell him how his government has fared so far. I mean, he should take a reflection back when he first visited Lagos in his 1 year in office, when he was passing through the market and the people shouted at him, "In me power, we are hungry." Yes, that is the true realities of things. They keep praising Bola Ahmed Tinubu for implementing policies that other presidents have failed to implement. But the major thing they are failing to talk about is the effect of all of these policies on the people. Whatever policies every government is implementing is geared towards alleviating the pains of the people, is geared towards moving the country forward, is geared towards making the quality of life of the people better. Since assuming office, Bola Ahmed Tinubu policies tag the Renew Hope agenda, which include the removal of fuel subsidies, the liberalization of the foreign exchange market, and other neoliberal policies endorsed by the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the World Bank. While these measures were intended to stabilize Nigeria's economy, they have instead increased the poverty, hunger, and inequality, leaving millions of Nigerians struggling to survive. Tinubu removal of the fuel subsidy was devastating upon Nigerians. It triggered a ripple effect, which includes high inflation in the cost of goods, transportation, and the price of essential goods and services. According to the World Bank, the subsidy removal contributed to inflation soaring to 34.1% by June 2024, with food inflation exceeding 40%. The IMF reported that inflation reached a 28-year high of 28.9% in December 2023, driven by rising energy and food costs, with food inflation alone hitting 33.9%. All over the world, there is nowhere any citizen of a nation can survive with this high level of inflation that Bola Ahmed Tinubu unleashed on the average Nigerians. Coupled with inflation was the liberalization of the foreign currency that made the naira to depreciate by over 100% between October 2023 and October 2024, dropping from 167 to over 1,600 per USD. This devaluation has made imported goods more expensive, driving up the cost of food, medicine, and other necessities. As Femi Falana noted, if you devalue the currency of a country that is import-oriented, you are going to have an astronomical rise in the price of goods, and that is what has happened to our country. The effect of this devaluation compounded the woes of Nigerians while adding more money in the pockets of the entrepreneurs. The economic fallout from these policies has pushed millions of Nigerians into poverty and hunger. The World Bank estimates that Nigerians' poverty rate rose from 44% in 2001 to 46% in 2023, equating to 104 million people living below the poverty line, the second largest poor population globally after India. Don't jubilate. Remember, India has more population than Nigeria. So, statistically speaking, Nigeria has more people in poverty than India. That is the reason why Nigeria is considered as the poverty capital of the world. PricewaterhouseCoopers project that an additional 13 million Nigerians could fall into severe poverty in 2025 due to the ongoing effect of Tinubu's reform. Over 80% of Nigerians' 220 million people now live in poverty, with many unable to afford basic necessities. Food insecurity has become a defining feature of Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. The sharp rise in food prices, compounded by the increased fertilizer costs and a depreciating naira, has made staples like rice, wheat, and cereals unaffordable for many households. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has highlighted that families are skipping meals, with some parents sending children to bed hungry. The rising cost of drugs such as glucophage for type 2 diabetes, which now costs over 4 times its price a year ago, has further limited access to healthcare. Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration promised that savings from the fuel subsidy removal will be reinvested in social programs and infrastructure to cushion the impact on vulnerable citizens. However, there has been little transparency regarding how these funds have been utilized. But instead, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has prioritized purchasing of a presidential yacht, presidential jet, and going on a borrowing spree. Nigeria's debt profile has astronomically increased under Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. The 2025 budget, dubbed the Budget of Restoration, with a total of 54.99 trillion naira, has been criticized for failing to prioritize pro-poor initiative. Economic Stephen Onyewu notes that about 65% of the budget is allocated to debt servicing, personal costs, and overhead, leaving only 19% for capital expenditure that could boost productive capacity. It is time for Nigerians to start holding their government accountable. It is time for Nigerians to stop allowing this government to keep lying to them. It is time for Nigerians to stop listening to all these big entrepreneurs in the country, these bourgeoisies that are benefiting hugely from the government. It is time for Nigerians to understand that the ripple effect of this Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration is being felt by them. They are the ones that are bearing the brunt of Bola Ahmed Tinubu bad administration. And only Nigerians can put an end to this rascality. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.